Cuando se ve en la pantalla una historia basada en la vida real, pocas veces se tiene la oportunidad de conversar con la protagonista sobreviviente. Cuando niña, Jan Broberg fue secuestrada y abusada en 2 ocasiones por un depredador que manipuló a toda su familia. Hoy es productora de la miniserie Amigo de la familia, que recrea los hechos tan traumáticos de su historia personal. Tuvimos el raro privilegio de conversar con ella.
Hola,
Yes.
¿cómo está?
Hola.
And I see you
Well,
have a friend of the family behind you. Yay!
yes,
Beautiful.
yes, yes. You have to be prepared.
Absolutely.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for your time. It's a pleasure talking to you.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for getting the message out there. Such a
Yes.
good series.
Yes, I know. I know. I'm hooked. A while back, I did a work with some refugees and victims of violent displacement.
Mhm.
And I received this very useful coaching beforehand on how you should be careful about talking to these people because of the risk of re-victimization or reliving
Mhm.
trauma and everything. And when I saw that you were the producer of the series, and when I saw that you have been involved with the documentary and the book, and I see your story has been told numerous times, and you yourself has been exposed to the story, I can't help but wonder how has your experience been, because you have been exposed to your story, and it's quite a strong story. You're a very strong woman, by the way.
Well,
So, how did
thank
you
you.
came to, you know,
Yeah, I really appreciate
experience
the
it?
question because honestly, it does take a lot of courage and strength, and it wasn't just my courage and strength, but also of my parents to be
Yeah.
so vulnerable and tell all the truth. That this is how a master manipulator, how a predator, how a psychopath
Yeah.
can actually befriend you and be your best friend. And for 3 years, we do hundreds of activities together as families. And his kids are the same age as me and my sisters. And his wife teaches us how to paint ceramics and make the best chocolate chip cookies ever that I still use her recipe.
Uh,
He knew what he was doing, but he showed
mhm.
up as just a nice guy. Like he was just
Yeah.
friendly. We met him and his wife and his 5 kids at church. They were in our neighborhood. We could walk to their house. We played night games. We jumped on the trampoline. We went on boating. He had all those things. We didn't. We were a little poorer than he
Sure.
was. He had
Sure.
a boat and a snowmobile, and we did all these fun activities with this family. And he made sure that every person felt like he was their best friend. My mom, my dad, all of
Hmm.
us kids, like we would have trusted him to the moon and back.
Yeah.
So the point was to tell the story in a way that let people understand the context because most often children,
Hmm.
tweens, teenagers are abused by someone they
Sure.
know,
And they're
someone the
groomed by
family
them.
loves,
Yeah.
someone in their family. And
Sure.
so for me to tell the story in this way was so cathartic. It was
Mm.
so wonderful to see my story told correctly in
Huh.
context so you could understand and go, oh my gosh, this could happen to me. This could be
Sure.
someone in my family, in my neighborhood, in my congregation, in my school, in
And
my
that's a
sports
power you
team.
have as a producer to be able to
Yes.
have
And
control of your narrative as well.
yes, to be able to be in the writer's room and to be able
Yeah.
to say, oh, that's just too simple. People would see that. No, he was way too
Mm.
smart for that. So let's rewrite that or let's tell
Mm.
it in a little bit different way so that people see how believable he was.
Yeah.
Because these
Yeah.
kind of
They're
predators
masterminds. Yeah.
are masterminds. I mean,
Yeah.
1 in 4 boys, 1 in 3 girls are
Hmm.
abused before the age of 18 by someone they know,
What
someone that
what
they already trust.
what part of the whole production are you most proud of?
I think I'm proud of the way they were handling the young people on set. So
Oh.
we never had to show anything graphic. There were never any
Mm.
any abuse moments that were going to scare our
Sure.
young actresses. So that and actors who were playing the kids in the families. That was really important to the production, which I really appreciated because so often, in order to get the views, you have to do
Yeah.
this, gross graphic stuff, or that's what they think. And we didn't have to do that to make the story so compelling because it is so
Mm.
compelling.
And still
And
the effect was there because you can
yes,
feel it. honestly.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Yeah.
you feel it because
Yeah.
I certainly
Mm.
did. On the third episode, when I was watching with my friends and family, I hadn't seen the full, all the episodes completely,
Hmm.
really all the way through, or just like by sitting with friends and family. When I watched the third episode, I started screaming at the TV. How could a grown man, so smart, had so much, to offer? He was so kind and loving and all that stuff. How could he hurt all these people? This little girl
Wow.
who was so innocent. Oh, I was so mad at him. And that was a great cathartic moment to realize, I still have feelings about this, even though
Sure.
I've told my story so much to small groups, large groups. I'm a public speaker. I go around the world. I'll talk to anybody.
Mm.
I'll
I,
utilize mis palabras en español que yo lo sé. If I need to, I will speak in Spanish. I will learn my story in Spanish from top to bottom so I can
well,
come to
you have a nice accent.
whatever
Actually,
and
you have a
teach
nice accent.
people
So.
how these predators work because they look like the nicest guys. So I
Mm.
was the most impressed in how they treated the abuse and made sure that our young actors were not exposed to anything that would
Hmm.
be traumatic. And I also am very proud of the way that they portrayed how he manipulated my mother and my father. Because if you watch the series, you can understand, oh, that could happen
Sure.
to me or
Because some
could be
people
happening
say,
to me.
that'll never happen to me. That's
Yeah.
outrageous. That'll never happen to me. And
Yeah.
everything. And you do a great job by portraying this process because it is a process. Actually,
Yes.
I was very surprised to see that you were playing your younger selves psychologist.
Yes.
And I was wondering, how did you feel at the time? Because
Oh,
here you are counseling your young self. I was wondering, was it cathartic, therapeutic, traumatic? I don't know. How was that experience for you?
it was really therapeutic for me because I was playing the part of who I feel I am today. Like I've done the work of healing.
Yeah.
I've been through therapy and through therapies. I've done work on my central nervous system. I've done work on my brain. I've done the work. I've gone through EMDR. I've done things to read the books, done the workbooks. I knew that I was meant to be the therapist, the
Mm.
psychologist to myself because it was like talking to my young Jan, like, you're going to be okay. I hear
Yeah.
you. You're upset. But you still see your family as an intact thing, which it was. My family saved my life in so many ways. I had such good parents. I'm so lucky it wasn't a parent who was abusing me because that happens so frequently. And
Yeah.
it was so obvious sitting there, speaking as a therapist to McKenna
Mm.
Grace and just looking at her as if I was looking at myself and going, wow, look how far you've come. You really are going to be okay, and not that it's easy. I'm not going to give anybody that idea, but it is
Sure.
possible to heal. I want to be hope for people as well. So that was really cool. And then talking to my father who had passed away,
Yeah.
before this series came out, before the first documentary came out, my father had died just a few months earlier. And sitting there looking at Colin Hanks, who played my father so magnificently. My mom at the premiere
Mm.
kept saying, oh, there's Bobby. Oh, there's Daddy.
Oh
Oh, there's
God, that's.
Bob. My mom. Well, we're sitting
Mm.
there, and Colin and his wife are sitting a few rows behind us. And Colin was like, oh my gosh, it made me feel so good. But my mother just, it was like she was really seeing him. He was magnificent. And to tell him she's going to be okay.
Mm.
Keep doing what you're doing. Love her.
Uh,
Be patient. She's going to be okay and you're going to be okay, because my sweet father, I don't think ever forgave himself for not seeing that this man was a monster. But I told him on his deathbed, I said, Dad, no one could have seen it. I mean, you didn't even know there were such terrible people, such predators in the
mhm.
world. You had no idea. You're such a good man. I said, God has forgiven you for mistakes you made. And I said, and we told our story to help other people. And you know what? I think it will. It's going to help other
I
people
think
because
so.
we knew that the first documentary, Abducted in Plain Sight, was coming out on Netflix. And
Mhm.
my dad
Uh,
died in November of 2018, and it came out in January of 2019. So we knew it was coming. My dad had seen it. He had seen it at a film festival. And, I was just so worried that he would feel bad because, it
yes.
his own
Look.
words, he told what happened, and yet I said, but you know what? for all those other parents who missed it. It's going to give them comfort to know that I didn't see it either, and that they can still be a big part of their child healing because of the love that they have for them and listening to their child.
Yeah.
Like my parents
And
listened to me. They believed me. Hugely important for a
yes,
victim's
and
healing.
very, very few people have that power like you have of talking to yourself, to
Yeah.
your dad, and to the world. So thank you very much for that, and thank you very much for your time.
Oh my gosh, thank you for spreading the news about the story. I really appreciate it. I really do hope that it helps millions of people heal and prevents millions of children and teenagers from being raped and hurt and harmed. So thank you.
As do I. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
You too.